Hey, there we are.
Hey, we're back.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 390, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Steve. Sorry.
There he is.
I had to right when he said that, something came on and was like buzzing in my ear. I'm like,
you know, at a
gotta
certain
be...
point, we've done the show long enough. I expect you to be on.
No. It's the exact opposite. We've done it long enough that I'm just like cruise control and I just forget, I'm not paying attention anymore.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are right on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol in the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
That's right. I'm on there right now, currently.
Excellent.
I'm typing. I am here. There.
Me too.
Me too. There we go.
All right. Welcome to the show, everyone. Before we get into it, because I do have some things that I want to talk about.
Right.
So Rhett and I talked a little bit last week about a car purchase that I was working on. And I have an update to that story. Long story short, I did buy a car. Short story short, I did not buy the car that I showed off last week, and we'll get into that. But before I get into that, I desperately need a beer.
Yes, I was going to say, before you get into it, we should probably crack open a beer.
So, Steve, what do you got chosen for the evening?
So, yes, I have chosen for the evening. I've gone to one of my favorite breweries, Great Notion, and I have gotten Roach Clip, which is a hazy IPA that I have not tried yet. And usually Great Notion does hazy IPAs very, very well. And then I decided to switch it up with a different style because I like IPAs quite a bit, but I wanted to get something different. And so I got a wit beer, and it's at Wit's End.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, and the artwork, if you notice, the artwork is kind of like Where the Sidewalk Ends type of artwork there. So I thought that was pretty cute, clever. And I haven't had a good wit beer in a while.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be really, really good. So those are my two.
Nice. I have two on my desk. We'll see if I wind up getting to two of them. Because the first one, and there's a reason it's the first one, is a bit of a doozy. You've had this beer before, Steve.
Oh, I've had.
You have.
Okay.
Our buddy from El Segundo, California, dropped this one
yes.
off.
I know which one you're talking about. Yes.
This is the El Segundo Brewery Lost in the Mail Quadruple IPA, clocking in at 13.2%.
Yes.
It is up there. I saw this in the fridge and went, you know what? I've been saving that one long enough. Tonight sounds like the night. And if I happen to make it through that one, I also have a Level Beer Platformer Porter.
Okay.
Kind of in the style. So they do a lot of gaming inspired beers. And gosh, what is that? There's a platformer that this is from, and I'm drawing a blank on it.
I can't tell the. It's not like early Prince of Persia, is it?
No. It's a more modern one. Gosh, what is that? I can picture it.
It's got a lot of stairs in it.
Yeah. God. It'll come to me. It'll come to
you.
But yeah.
Is it the one where you're a bug?
No, it's not the one where you're a bug.
Yeah.
It came out around the same time Super Meat Boy did. It's the but you're like this cloaked figure. God, why can I not think of the name of that?
You're a cloaked figure.
Hold on.
It's not a puzzle platformer. Is it like Braid?
Is it Braid? Hold on. Yeah, Braid.
Was like a yeah.
No, not Braid. Hold on. not Braid.
Braid was like a puzzle platformer.
Yeah. Why can I not think of that? Oh well, someone will.
Someone
will think of it.
I should go take a. It's called Platform Porter, because I have to go find a bigger graphic of it.
Platform Reporter.
Platform Reporter.
Yeah, it's kind of a gothic style. There's a little dude right here on the stairway who's all in black. He's wearing a hood, just like his eyes that are poking out. No, not Myst. Way more modern than Myst.
Yeah.
Limbo. Thank you.
Limbo. Oh, Limbo. Yes, Limbo.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it's all black and white.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's Limbo. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that would be about the same time.
I knew the audience would catch this one. Yeah. So, if we have time, if I'm feeling up to it, we'll open second beer, but I think one beer is going to be good enough for me today.
We spent a long time on a beer you're probably not going to drink.
Right. So, El Segundo, Lost in the Mail, quadruple IPA. Oh my goodness, is that ever clear?
Yeah. It is a good beer. I think I give it a 4.
And also kind of Everclear.
Yeah, that's almost. It's closer to Everclear than it's not. 13% IPA.
Oh, what a pretty looking beer.
Oh man,
dude,
the aroma on this hazy is amazing. Let's see how thick that thing is.
Novella says, I expect Jeff to do the Limbo after that quad IPA. And yes, thank you, Coffee, for pointing out it was Limbo. And he's got a link to it in the Discord right now. And in fact, it's 99 cents on Steam.
That's right. I think it's the last day of the Steam Summer Sale.
Yeah, Steam Sale ends tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you didn't get onto that, do it. I got a couple good deals. Did you get anything off Steam Sale this time?
I did, actually, because I had like $15 in my Steam wallet. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to burn through this. And I've been slowly going through the Assassin's Creed series.
Uh-huh.
So, but I'm always like a couple behind, so I can pick it up for cheap, right?
Yeah.
So I just beat Origins late last year.
Okay.
So I picked up Odyssey, which is the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Got it for like, I think it was like $12 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I picked up, because there was like the really deep discount ones. I picked up Little Nightmares 2.
Nice.
Talk about platformers, yeah. And Crypt of the Necrodancer. Both of them were like $1.50 or $2 or something like that. They were just ridiculously cheap.
Yeah.
And they're both like highly rated.
Yeah,
so
let me see what I got. Because I got a couple of games. I'm drawing a blank on them right now. It's been a long week. Do that. Log into my browser here real quick. Here we go. Cool, I'm in. Let's see. Jeff. Account details. Where is my recent purchases? Where did those go?
It should be at the, well, depends on how you have your games ordered. It should be at the recent games.
Oh, I'm just on the web app because I don't even have Steam installed on this. Oh, view purchase history.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Diplomacy is not an option. I picked that up for $13. Real-time strategy game. Like a real-time tower defense strategy game. Kind of like a mix of Age of Empires and Castle Defense. Really enjoying that one. And then my wife actually picked up Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is
super cheap,
like
I believe,
the zoo simulator kind of game.
But Jurassic World.
$3.
Yeah.
You can get this game for. She's sunk like 40 hours into it in the last 6
already,
days.
huh?
Like, yeah, she is hardcore into that game. So probably the best $3 we spent on Steam in a long time.
Yeah, there are some really good deals out there.
Yeah, I had a couple more in my cart, and I'm not remembering what those are right now, but I'll probably buy them before tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have Diplomacy. I already have that one.
Yeah.
I'll have to go check it out.
I was having fun with that, yeah.
Looks like a bunch of massive armies coming at you.
Yeah, no, and that's the cool thing is instead of having like a 200 unit limit, like you could have thousands of characters on the screen. And the way it's designed is you'll get waves from certain directions, and you'll have certain objectives that can cut down the number of enemies you have to face. So it's designed to be real-time strategy, but with a ticking clock. And so at a certain point, the enemies are going to start approaching you. And your job is to just wipe them out or defend your town hall. So
a little like it's kind of like what was it?
Think of like Age of Empires mixed with like Battlefront, where like real-time first-person shooter where you're like doing base capture kind of stuff.
Right.
And so you have a timer based on that, or if you kill a certain number of enemies, you advance to the next quadrant.
There was a
and
series...
you can gain and lose regional control based on how you do in that level. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank in here. There was a Stronghold, like Stronghold.
Mm.
Yeah, Stronghold.
Yes.
Stronghold was kind of like that. Yeah.
So.
But that Stronghold had that more Age of Empires aesthetic to it, because it was kind of like the isometric top-down, not 3D, all sprite drawn.
Yeah. This one's full 3D, and the it's a real basic design, but the renderings are gorgeous. Like it is a really, really well done game.
It's like a low poly.
Yeah.
So probably so they can have like massive amounts of units.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Man, they're only like 5 polygons, but you can have 1 million of them on there.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's get into the first bit of news. I bought an EV.
All right.
I fully bought an electric vehicle. I got a new to me 2017 Chevy Bolt. Now, keen-eyed among you will notice that I talked about buying a Chevy Bolt last week, and I didn't show you this car. The car I was looking at was a 2019, and it was yellow. Well, funny story about that. So, I've had some really great car buying experiences, and I've had some really terrible car buying experiences. And I decided, since I have a platform now, and we talked about the car so extensively last week, I'm going to use my platform to say, fuck you, McLoughlin Chevrolet in Milwaukee, Oregon. Full on.
Go screw you guys.
So, what happened? So, I have 2 vehicles that I owned full free and clear. I had and actually as of like last September or so, about 9 months ago, I actually had 3 vehicles that I owned full out. I had my ultimate 3-car garage. I had a Nissan 350Z convertible, roadster, 6-speed, beautiful car, tons of fun. Never drove it, so I sold it. I also had a 2012 Dodge Ram 1500, Hemi 5.7, full-size truck. Loved that truck. I also have a 2008 Mazda CX-9. So I had a full 3-car garage and owned them all free and clear. The problem is, all of them were starting to get old. My newest vehicle was 13 years old. And as people who drive cars know, if you don't drive cars, they start to kind of turn to dust. And that's kind of what I was running into. And so I wanted to upgrade to something a little bit newer, something that gets better gas mileage, because I drive it so infrequently, and we live 3 miles up a 6% grade. My truck gets about 12 miles to the gallon at best. And the Mazda wasn't much better. And so it's like, all right, I think it's time just to figure out what I actually need. Do I need a full-size 4-wheel drive, or would a compact EV do what I need? And I came to the conclusion that a compact EV would do it. So I settled on, I wanted a Chevy Bolt. I'd done a lot of research. I know the Bolts in the first couple model years had some problems, 17, 18, 19, because LG made some battery packs that had a propensity for exploding. But that resulted in a mass recall. Kudos to Chevy for actually doing a mass recall and making everything right, including doing buybacks, including replacing every pack and then fully warrantying the replaced packs. So the 17, 18, and 19 bolts actually end up being a pretty darn good deal. Because, oh God. The net guy said sometimes the recommended thumbnails are wild. Hold on. We have to show this link.
Oh, this is really good. Although it kind of looks like you're flipping me off.
A little bit.
A little, because I'm looking over to you, and then you're like... Demonetized.
Anyway, so, yeah, they had... Chevy recalled the 17, 18, 19s, put brand new batteries in them, and put 8-year, 100,000 warranty or 100,000 mile warranties on all of the new battery packs. And so you can find Chevy Bolts for less than $15,000 with basically 8-year warranties on them. And that's what I did here. I was looking at last week a 2019 Chevy Bolt, just the base model LT, but it was in bright yellow. And I went, I'm tired of silver because my 3-car garage was entirely silver. My wife's car is white, and the last 3 cars my wife has owned have all been silver. And it's like, I am so done with silver. I am so beyond done with silver. I want something fun. I want something different. And so I found the yellow one. The price was right. So I went, you know what? That looks good to me.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've sold vehicles myself before, especially some of the funner vehicles. I sold my 350Z private party, didn't have a problem with it. I sold my MR2 private party. I've sold my Toyota Celica private party. Like I've sold a lot of cars. With the truck, I didn't want to deal with that, and with the Mazda, I didn't want to deal with that. I just wanted to trade it in, be done, because a truck and a full-size all-wheel drive SUV, either of those, the lot can put 3 times what they give me on trade-in for it on their lot, and they'll sell it by Sunday. Yeah. Like, they're common enough commodity vehicles and high enough in-demand vehicles, they should have no problem selling them. And so I should have no problem taking one in, getting a fair trade-in value for it, and everyone's happy, right? On the show last week, I said I'm looking at an EV, and during the show, I got a text message. Now, with the truck, there's a little bit of backstory here, because my truck was a Canadian import. And so it was originally sold in Vancouver, BC, and driven in Alberta for most of its life. Let me find the text messages where those are from. There we go. Okay. So the 2012 Dodge Ram had 2 options for a main speedometer pod display. One of them was a smart display that would include things like fuel economy and eco and drive modes and things like that, as well as your mileage and a digital readout of your speed. And you could change that between metric and imperial. There was also the dumb version of the display, which was literally just the odometer readout and then a trip computer, which didn't have MPG, didn't have any other calculations in it, and those are hard-coded to the region they're sold in. Okay. My truck, as a Canadian truck, was locked to kilometers. When it was imported into the US, it was imported properly with a proper odometer readout, because it was imported with 100,000 kilometers on it, or about 66,000 miles. And so the title it was issued for Oregon was 66,000 miles. Well, across two other sales, someone had simply opened the truck, written down the odometer reading, and transferred a title that way. And so at some point, I went from like 90,000 miles to 150,000 miles. Even though it was in kilometers. Right. Yes, and so the title now says 150, or in my case, 193. But all that takes is a bit of, this is not correct. The truck actually has 125,000 miles on it. And if you drive 3 miles, you can see it records 5. Yes. It's a very easy thing to see. Yeah. And on Wednesday, I was at McLoughlin Chevrolet and was trying to trade in the Mazda, and they said we don't even want the Mazda. It's too old. And I went, that's fair enough. It's 17 years old. Like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. Would you be interested in a truck instead? I also have a 2012 Ram. And they said, yeah, sure. Do you have pictures? Do you have VIN? I said, yeah. I've got, it was sitting outside. I had my wife go out, take a series of pictures. I texted them every picture, every dent, every flaw,
Yep.
I'm very honest when I sell cars. Hey, here's the problems. Hey, there's rust in the bed. Hey, there's a little bit of this, there's a little bit of that. Here's the VIN number out of the door. Here's everything else. Oh, and by the way, this was originally a Canadian car. The odometer says 200,000. There's actually 125,000 because it's can't be converted.
Kilometers. Yeah.
And at the dealership, they said we could probably give you 6,000 for that. Now I'm going to give you the actual numbers here. And I went, tell you what, I'm going to drive home. Let me think about it. And they said that's fair. So I drove home. By the way, this is an hour away from my house.
Right. Yeah. It's a bit of a drive.
So I got home in the evening, talked to my wife a little bit, and she goes, well, what could you sell it for? And I said, I just don't want to deal with a private sale. Like, I could. I don't want to, though. I would just rather kick it to them and be done. And she goes, if you think you're getting a fair deal, then go ahead. And so I texted them back, and I said, hey, would you take 6,500, or would you give me 65 on the truck? And if so, you have a deal. They texted back, and I quote, we got you your 6,500 for trade. I will pull the car out back and have it ready for you tomorrow. Congratulations, Jeff.
Okay.
Done deal, right?
Right. Sounds good.
They have all of the information. They both made an offer on my truck. I made a counter offer to which then they accepted. So like multiple layers of negotiations have happened here to the point of congratulations, we'll pull it around back. We'll see you in the morning to sign papers.
Right.
That is the text message that I got on the show last week. Okay. So 9 o'clock in the morning, I go to the bank. I take out the cash that I need for the transaction because it's a purely cash sale. And I drive up there. And they have us fill out the privacy forms and things like that. And then they sit us down in the sales office, and we're sitting there for like 40 minutes. I went, that's way too long to draft up paperwork. So finally I go find the guy, and he goes, hey, we just took a look at your truck, and we're having a little bit of a problem. And I said, what problem? And he goes, well, the odometer says 200,000, and the way we wrote it up yesterday was for 125. And there's just a huge discrepancy there. And I went, yeah, I told you it was a Canadian truck.
Yeah, it's kilometers, not miles.
It's in kilometers. And I said, I'd be happy to demonstrate it for you, too. And so I said, do you want to go for a ride real quick? And he goes, yeah, let's do that. And so we walked by the sales office. I talked to the trade-in specialist dude and said, here's the situation. It's in kilometers. I'm going to take him out for a ride right now. He will visually verify it's in kilometers. And so I got in the truck and I said, give me a destination that's 2 miles away. How far is it to the freeway? And he goes, probably a couple miles. And I said, oh, there's a hotel right there. Let's just type the hotel to the GPS. It's 2.6 miles. We got a mile away and it already registered like 1.7, close to 2 miles. Oh, and by the way, the sales guy I was working with was Canadian. He knows
you would
kilometers.
Think he would know. You think he would know.
You think he would know. So he goes, I've seen enough. That's definitely in kilometers. Thank you so much. So we turned around. I parked the truck, walked back inside, sat back down for another 40 minutes. All right, now I'm ticked off because this should have been an hour in and out.
Yes. Shouldn't have taken this long.
I've got stuff to do today. The reason I came back was because we had a deal. Right. So what's going on? So I got back up. I found the guy again. And he goes, yeah, we're still having some issues with it. And what issues are you having? He goes, do you have the original radio by any chance? Because I had replaced it with an Android TED unit. And I went, no, I don't. No. He goes, well, I was really hoping you did because we could reset the odometer back to miles. And I said, no, you can't. I've already done all the research on this. It is locked to the region that it's sold in because it's not a smart display. There's no control on the radio. The radio was dumber than the display is. Like the radio was literally a clock and an AM/FM radio. It had zero menu interface with anything else in the truck. So I went and talked to the trade-in specialist, and what was going on was they didn't want the truck. What they did is they accepted my offer because they thought there's no chance in hell they don't have a buyer lined up by the time I get there in the morning.
Oh, and so they didn't have a buyer lined up.
Well, it's not even that. It's that because they did not have a buyer lined up and because no one on their dealer network was making a bid on the truck, they weren't going to give me the money for it. They said, oh yeah, 6,500? Like, yeah, we should... Basically in their head, they went, we don't want to take the risk, so we want a quick cash transaction to the next sucker in line.
Yeah.
And so I get there in the morning, they don't have a buyer yet, and now that's my problem. As if I was doing this shit on consignment.
Right. It's like, so they're reneging on your deal. They're just like, didn't want to tell you.
Me my trade-in value. I accepted. No, counter that. You offered first, I countered, and then you accepted that. Like, we've already been through multiple layers. I drove an hour back up here to do this deal. I've been waiting for an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
And you're not even drawing up papers because you can't, in your bid network, offload the truck before the ink is even written yet, let alone signed and in your hands. And he goes, yeah, the best I think we're going to be able to offer you today is $2,000 on it.
What?
And he goes, you could always pay cash and then go sell the truck and do that. I said, I'm not taking a $4,000 wash on a deal because you don't have a buyer.
Right. That's a whole bait and switch type of a thing. That's bait and switch.
That's not how these transactions work. He goes, well, we really don't. We don't have the room on the lot. It's like, there's 70 spaces out there.
Come on, dude.
Empty right now.
Yeah, right.
You don't want it. And you offered because you thought you would have a buyer already by this morning, and you didn't. So you know what I did? I said, well, I think I'm going to go home. Give me my truck keys. Give me everything back.
I'm out of here.
Screw you guys.
I'm going home.
I'm not playing with that. And I went home. I put the truck on Craigslist and had it sold on Sunday.
Oh.
for $9,400.
Nice.
So, you know what I did on Sunday? Is I drove back up to McLoughlin Boulevard, drove 2 blocks past that dealership, and gave someone else my money.
Nice. Flipping them off on the way, passing them by.
We did flip them off on the way by. Yeah. I literally drove 2 blocks past the deal. I drove back the hour up because another lot had a 2017 Bolt that also had the battery replaced in 2023, so it has a warranty through 2031.
Oh, nice.
And single owner car. And this one's actually the premier model. So it has all of the upgrades. It has every single creature comfort feature and bell and whistle and leather interior and heated seats and everything else. The only thing it doesn't have is the moonroof, which I actually didn't really want the panoramic moonroof on this. Because there's no shade on that one. It's just an open glass.
Oh, right. So you get
I
just
wanted
toasted
the tin
in the
top.
sun.
Right.
Yeah,
I wanted the tin top. So yeah, I drove 2 blocks further and gave someone else $16,000.
Same price too, right?
Yeah, same exact price.
Yeah. All because they were impatient, basically. They wanted a quick turnaround, a quick buck.
Yeah. But yeah, so screw you, McLoughlin Chevrolet. I hope you go out of business. I hope no one shops you again. That was the worst car buying experience I've ever had in my life. And screw you for not even keeping your word. Like I understand you're a business and you have to do what's right for your business. But that was beyond. That was making an offer to a customer with no intent to fulfill.
Right.
Knowing I'm an hour away. Knowing I'm driving back for this deal.
Right. They didn't care.
They didn't care.
They wanted to get you out there knowing you were there for an hour, and then you would take the lower number because you don't want to have to deal with it.
That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah, they thought I was so committed that I would just, give them an extra $4,000. Piss
Yeah,
off.
right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, so instead I got the metallic orange burst.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's a really, really great color. I did like the yellow. The yellow was like highlighter yellow. It was very bright.
Oh yeah.
The highlighter yellow was exclusive to the 2019 model year. The orange burst is the rare color for the 17-18 model year. Although the way you can tell them apart is the 17 has the silver grill and the 18 has the black grill.
Okay.
So mine has the silver, which I actually kind of like the contrast between all of it.
Oh yeah, that yellow is bright yellow.
Oh, it's highlighter neon yellow.
Oh my god, you're not gonna miss that.
It was even brighter in person.
Yes, you are not gonna miss that on the road at all.
But this thing drives like $1 million. Man, it's so much fun. Like I love hot hatchbacks. I love, that the old adage, drive a slow car fast. This thing gets up and scoots. Like it's the evolution of the Chevy Aveo and Chevy Sonic. The Chevy Sonic was 125 horsepower. This is 200 horsepower with 266 foot-pounds of torque.
Oh wow!
Like it gets out of its own way.
It's peppy, yeah.
It is very peppy. 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. My 350Z did that in 5.9. I am 0.6 seconds behind my 350Z V6 with a 6-speed.
So you're not going to miss the fun little punch it and go.
Oh no! If I want to get up and move, this gets up and moves.
Okay.
And with the new battery pack, so the original battery pack that came with it was 60 kilowatt hour, and it was good for around 235 miles. In 2020, when they started issuing the recall, they upgraded this to the 66 kilowatt hour pack that's in the 20 through 23 bolt. And so you actually get an extra almost 10% battery life, or good for about 260 miles. Based on the roughly 120 miles that I've put on it, that looks almost exactly accurate. Like my calculations are coming in between 225 and 240 for the range that I'm going to get with my driving style.
Oh, okay.
And that's even with, punching it a couple of times. So very happy to be an EV owner now.
Frustrating beginning, but happy ending. Got a better deal.
Yes.
In the end. Wow. What a story. Yeah, I've heard actually bad things about the McLoughlin dealership over there. But then, of course, you're going to find bad stories from every dealership you go to, especially any big dealership, because those guys are just all high pressure, shiesty as heck.
Yeah.
Yes, I've known quite a few car dealers, and they're kind of some of them are honest. I'll have to say some of them are nice, some of them are good, but some of them are just downright assholes.
Yeah. I can say no, I don't know if I can give them any credit. Like
no,
I just don't know that I can.
Yeah.
They treated me decently enough the first day. Like,
right.
Took me on a good test drive, like free coffee, like all that kind of stuff. And when I said I'm looking to trade in my Mazda CX-9, 2008 Mazda CX-9 Grand Touring Edition, very well maintained. We're the second owner. We've owned it for 14 years.
Yeah.
And, perfect ownership history, all the extras, leather interior, everything else. They were quite honest when they said, look, I don't know if we can get you what you probably deserve on your trade. Right. Simply because of the age. It's not the market that we serve. It's not a car that would really sell on our lot. We'd probably kick it to auction. So we've got to give you auction prices for it. They said realistically, in most cases, we'd probably give like $500. I think we can give you $1,800, which honestly, $1,800 is about what was coming up on Kelley Blue Book for like mid-range trade-in. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably a fair offer. I was hoping for a little bit more based on condition, but I understand. And so it's like not like they were trying to screw me on that one.
Right. Yeah. They were honest about that, at least.
Right. But, and look, I knew my cars were a little bit older, but if you make a deal, if you accept an offer and say, congratulations, we're pulling your new car around back so it doesn't sell tonight by accident, and, bring your title in the morning, congratulations, we'll sign papers. I expect to sign some papers.
Yeah, exactly. You got money burning a hole in your pocket at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... But I figured I got a podcast, I got a platform, I got car enthusiasts who will listen, and if you live in the Oregon area, don't go to McLoughlin Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Do not endorse.
Now you went through a private sale for the
Yeah. I actually, since I went with that much negative, I'll do the positive one. I bought this from a place called Cascadia Motors. They are an independent dealership. They're actually a fairly large independent dealership. They have their own repair center, warranty center. And they said, we work on all kinds of things. And they had a lot of really nice vehicles on their lot. They had a Mercedes G-Wagon on there. They had a couple of really unique ones. They had a Smart 42 EV. They had one of the Fiat 500Es. And then they had a couple of Bolts. One thing about this Bolt that I bought was this Bolt was actually not bought back from Chevy on the Lemon buyback, so it doesn't even have a branded title. Because the one I was going to buy for the same exact price was a branded title. Because it was a Lemon buyback.
Right.
For the battery issue.
Because the battery issue,
This one, the owner said, please replace my battery under warranty, and then I would like to keep driving the car. Which doesn't brand the title, which means my car is now worth more. So
you got even a better car. And it's got more features and everything like that, so...
Yeah.
Same price.
Yep.
Better car.
Same price, better car.
Not the neon yellow that you wanted, but...
Right. But brand new tires and brakes put on in April of this year. So like the one maintenance item that you have on an EV is already done.
Already taken care of. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna have 30,000 miles before I even have to think about this car.
Right. And you don't drive it. You're probably not gonna drive it that much.
Right. Yeah. I do 5,000 to 7,000 miles a year anymore. I don't drive it all that much. Right. I might be doing a little bit more driving here in this next year. I'm waiting on a couple things to shake out, but yeah, it's looking like this was a fantastic purchase. So yeah, I'm hoping after I put 2,000 or 3,000 miles on this, I actually want to do a review on this on the channel. Like, should you buy?
Your first
my first EV,
your first car review on the channel too, right?
Yeah. It had new brakes put on it. Whoa, yeah, it got new front brakes and new rotors and then new rear pads. Which is weird for an EV because typically you use regen braking for like 80% of your braking. I think this car was used for Uber.
Oh, that could be.
There was a little residue on the dashboard from where you might put an Uber Lite. So I think a lot of hard accelerating and hard braking were probably more in order for this car. So maybe a little bit harder life than the first one. And this one also has 65,000 miles, so a couple more miles on it as well.
Right.
But still, 65,000 miles, like
it's not bad.
We bought the Mazda with 50,000 miles, and we're still driving that car 14 years later. Like, yeah, I'll buy a car with 50,000 miles on it. Like, that's not a problem. So yeah. But yeah, leather interior. It's got
even nicer.
Yeah, all leather interior. It's got heated seats. It's got Bose sound system in it instead of the stock Chevy system.
Yeah.
It's got the lane stay assist and the smart adaptive cruise instead of the non-standard. It has a 360 camera.
Wow.
You can hit a button on the dash or put it into reverse and you get the full 360 camera.
Inside or above, or how's the 360?
Like a top-down bird's eye view.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that standard, or is that like an aftermarket thing that they put in there? Because I can see that
they started doing it standard. Yeah. Yeah, it was only on the premium models, so it wasn't on the base model. But yeah, so I get rear view camera plus bird's eye 360 cam. It's also got a front camera, so if you're trying to pull up to something nice and close, it's also got a
you can see the front bumper and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I can see how far you are.
But like for parallel parking and stuff, like if you're not very good at that, I can parallel park, but a lot of people can't. Yeah. It's wonderful for things like that. You can see exactly where your car is in 3D space. It's pretty sweet.
You got digital curb feelers.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, I'm ecstatic, and it's not silver.
And it's not silver. Yes, very unique orange color.
I was so happy to find the metallic orange. There was one other yellow one for sale up in Portland that was also kind of high mileage. It was a 2019, but that was also one of the lemon buybacks. And then I found one other orange one for sale also. But this one, it's like, well, it's easy enough part of town to get to. You know, yeah, it's an hour away, but it's going to be an hour away no matter where I drive for buying a lot of cars. So,
well, don't they have a Chevy dealership in Salem? I thought that they did.
They do. There's actually one right by me.
They just didn't have the cars you were looking for?
They didn't have they didn't have a great selection of the bolts.
Okay.
I've actually bought two cars from them. I bought a 2014 Chevy Cruze, brand new off the lot back in 2014, that I used for my commuter car while I was still working. We also bought our van from that dealership.
Okay.
They're a Chevy, Toyota, Subaru, and now Nissan. They cover all four at that same family of dealerships right there.
So they get all kinds.
Yeah. I've actually bought two vehicles from them, but yeah, they just didn't have a great selection of bolts, and that's really what I was looking for.
Okay. How's that IPA hitting you? You feeling better now?
I'm feeling better now. Yeah.
You got a little cathartic, got all that out. You got a 30% beer going down.
Yeah. I mean, I got my new car. New car is great. Drives great. I'll maybe next week we'll talk about charging, because what was really fun is I got home and I discovered in the trunk of the car were actually two chargers, not just one.
Oh, wow.
So they gave me the Chevy OEM charger, which is the level 1 8 amp / 12 amp 120 volt charger. And I've been using that, and it was just laying in the trunk. And so I'm like, oh, sweet, comes with the charger, plug it in. It does take upwards of 48 hours to go from 10% to 90%. Okay. It's a slow charge. It's a trickle charge. Okay. But if you're only driving 40 miles a day, you do
that's not a big deal.
You do 4 to 6 miles per hour basically on charge. Then you're fine, because I get home at 5, I plug it in. By 8 o'clock the next morning, I've got 70 miles of range.
Back up,
not a big deal. Like, level 1 charging is probably just fine for most people. But in this car, there's a false floor. So I open that up, and there's like more storage space in the trunk, a little lower than you might expect. Underneath that is where the spare tire would normally go. Yep. But the Chevy Bolt doesn't come with a spare tire. It comes with a flat repair kit and a couple of other tools. But then there's also this styrofoam thing that also carries a charger. And in that styrofoam thing was a level 2 charger.
Oh.
Which is the 240 volt 16 amp charger. So if I put 240 outside of my house, I can do level 2 charging. I can charge the car in 9 hours.
Oh, wow.
From 10 to 90.
So overnight charge.
Overnight, 100% charge. Yeah. So I wasn't going to buy the level 2 charger because it's about $700 or $800, which, by the way, the other dealership was trying to weasel their way out of giving me.
Upsell you.
No, they were trying to weasel their way out of giving me any charger at all.
Oh, really?
Speaking back to McLoughlin Chevrolet and the bastards they were being. So they bought like 20 or 30 of the lemon buyback bolts, and they're just like, they've got them all like $16,000. And by the way, they're also listing them on Auto Trader at like $5,000 because that's the price after the tax incentives, the federal
Oh,
and the
right.
Oregon tax incentives. So they're not actually listing the sticker price; they're listing $9,000 below, which is also a bullshit move.
Yes, so you do that, and they're like, no, it's really this, but you can get the rebate.
Right, because I don't qualify for the tax rebates. Because I'm a business owner, I made too much gross revenue last year. So
right.
I don't qualify for the tax rebates. Yeah. But anyway, they went, we have a lot of these, and we try to get a charger with everyone, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to find you one because, we pull them out of trunks and we sell them with whatever vehicles sell, and I don't know if we have any more. And I went, well, your online listing had a charging cable in the trunk of this car. And they went, oh, it did? Oh, man. Maybe we can find you one. Let me see. I don't know. Ooh. And I said, you're more than welcome to take another $300 off the price because that's what an OEM charger costs. Amazingly enough, they found me a charger. But they were trying to weasel their way out of giving me even the level 1 charger.
Right.
It's like, you...
Yeah, that came with the car if you buy it brand new, right? So it should come with it too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's called the portable charger. It has a spot in the trunk dedicated to the portable charger.
Yeah.
But I was on the fence about maybe getting a level 2 charger set up at home. But now I'm actually genuinely thinking of putting a 240 volt circuit outside of my house and then being able to do level 2 charging. I don't think that I need it 90% of the time, but that 10% of the time it might be worth the investment. So we'll see. But I think that'll be a couple months down the road if I do it, and that'll probably be part of my full review once I talk about the car.
Well, I mean, if you find yourself using it more and needing to use it more often, then that might be something you want to look into.
Yeah. So not only was McLoughlin Chevrolet trying to weasel their way out of giving me a charger in the first place, the Cascadia Motors, the better dealership, gave me 2.
2. Oh, yeah.
Thought you couldn't get a rebate on used cars. There is. It's not as high of a rebate, and the car that you're buying can't have had the rebate used on it already. So the federal tax rebate, or tax incentive, because it is at time of sale, for a new EV is $7,500. Or you can get $4,000 on a used EV if that EV has not previously used a federal rebate on it. If someone just paid cash or didn't qualify or whatever else. Oregon is also doing the Charge Up program, or Charge Up. I don't remember what it's called. But Oregon also has a tax incentive, and I believe it's also $7,500 for new or $5,000 for used. And again, as long as the vehicle hasn't been sold with that Oregon tax rebate before, that vehicle would be eligible for the rebate.
Yeah, up to 500,000 for new, and 5,000 eligible pre-owned.
Yeah,
is the Oregon one. Yeah.
Used rebate caps at $4,000, and the car must be less than 25. Yeah, so there's a sliding scale of like eligibility, which is fine. You can get a Subaru Solterra for $25,000. You can get quite a few actually really really good EVs for $25,000 in the used market. You can get a lot of Konas. You can get a lot of. I saw a couple EV6s, Kia EV6s for less than 25.
Oh, really?
A little bit more than I wanted to spend right now. Like, I'm just looking for the commuter car right now, and possibly a future car to give my kid, because holy crap, my kid's 12. I think I need to start thinking about that. Yeah. So,
well, that depends. I mean, some kids are like highly motivated to get their license, and some aren't. So, I guess it just depends.
I don't know if mine's going to be all that highly motivated to get one.
Yeah, because like my nieces and nephews, because I got a lot of them. A good number of them are of driving age, and a good majority of them at 16 literally did not care. Some of them did. Some of them like right away got their license like right away, and others just like they waited till they're like 18 19
Yep.
is to get their car license, and they're like, I'll get it eventually,
Yep.
type of a thing.
Yeah, no, I got mine right after I turned 16.
Oh yeah, no, me too. Well, I mean, we lived in a different time though, where a
Well,
vehicle meant freedom, and you could go hang out with your friends.
sorry, let me
stuff.
clarify. I got mine closer to 17, and it was because I lived in the Eugene area, which had amazing bus service, and a bus pass was $14 for the month.
Oh yeah. So you didn't need it.
And so I can get anywhere in the city I need to within 45 minutes.
Right. So you didn't really need it. It was cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is now is that kids, their friends are all online, and they talk to them on chat. So they don't feel the need to have to drive over to their house or drive over places. They'll just sit at home and chat with them with their phones, and that's all they need.
Yeah. So, but I had the thought the other day, like, will my kid ever really need to drive a gas car? Like,
oh yeah,
we're starting to have that conversation of like, well, I just bought an EV, and that's probably going to be her first vehicle when she turns 16, 17, 18, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And at that time, I'll probably buy myself like a slightly larger EV or something like that. But is my kid ever going to drive a gas car? I don't know.
Probably not ever going to drive a manual.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I would love to teach her. Like, what's funny is when I sold my 350Z, this is the first time I've not owned a manual transmission car.
Oh, for a long time. Probably for ever, maybe?
Ever?
Maybe first time. Yeah. I've always had a manual transmission. Always. Yeah. Except for my very first car was not. But
my first car was an automatic. My second car was a manual.
Yeah.
My third car was a manual. My fourth car was a manual.
Yeah, they're all manual.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to tell you, my dad's instructional seminar for how to drive a manual. Okay.
Oh God.
So I actually bought the car from my band director in high school. I was a senior in high school, and my car had just suffered catastrophic engine failure, as your first car tends to do. And my band teacher offhandedly said one day, I'm looking at selling one of my cars. And I said, oh, what do you have? And he goes, oh, it's just an old sedan. And I said, what do you have? And he goes, oh, I have a 91 Mazda 626. And I went, okay, how much you selling it for?
Yeah.
He goes, I don't know, $1,200. I went, I got $1,200. We could make that happen. And he goes, okay, I'll leave it out back one day. I'll give you the key. You can test drive it, do whatever you want. If you like it, you can drive it home. I went, sweet, that sounds great to me. And so on a Friday afternoon, he left the car in the school parking lot, and my dad drove by. And I had never driven a manual. I had kind of driven a manual before. My uncle had tried teaching me on a Jeep 3-speed.
So you got
like
the
old
concept,
CJ5
right?
3-speed.
Yeah.
And I had the concept of how it worked, but I'd never actually I'd never driven one beyond 20 miles an hour. And yeah. So my dad shows up and he's like, all right, let's get this thing home and we can figure this out. And so we sat down and he goes, all right, turn the car on. So I put the clutch in and I started the car. He goes, good, cool. He goes, all right, go ahead and put it in reverse. And we're like in a front end parking spot. So he goes, put it in reverse. And I said, okay, put it in reverse. He goes, all right, back up. And so we backed up and we went about 10 feet or so. And he goes, stop. So I put the clutch in and I stopped. And he goes, very good. And he goes, put it in first. So I put it in first. He goes, put it back in that parking spot. So I put it back in the parking spot. He goes, this concludes your technical training. I'll see you at home. And he got out of the car and he left.
Oh, man. You need a little bit more than that.
This concludes your technical training.
Wow.
And he goes, and it was like 7 miles from home. And it was all backcountry roads. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But
right.
But still, like, if you can start and you can stop, you can drive a manual. He goes, I'll see you at home. And he left.
Yeah. That's like a video game tutorial.
Yeah.
WASD. Oh, that's very good. All right, here you go.
Yeah. And you know what? I figured out how to drive a manual.
Yeah.
And I drove one for 20 something years after that.
Yeah. So. They're great fun. That's the fun way to drive. It really is.
Yep. No, I love manual cars.
I do too.
They're so much fun. I've had so many manual cars over the years. Gosh, I had that Mazda 626. Fantastic car.
Mhm.
Loaded with features. If you're considered like 1991,
Mhm.
had a sunroof, had air conditioning,
Mhm.
it had electric seats,
Oh,
which
even
was
electric seats? That's
electric
high
seat.
class.
91
That,
had
yeah,
electric seats.
that's like a high end feature right
My
there.
favorite feature, because you remember during the 70s and 80s, the oscillating fan was the thing that everyone had in their household. Everyone had like that what was that brand? Octo something
like that. Yeah, yeah.
No, had
Oh,
that
yeah.
you like white but then yellowed plastic
Right.
oscillating
And the brown
fan that
brown
sat,
buttons.
brown buttons
Yeah.
that sat
Yep.
on a nightstand and oscillated. The Mazda 626 had a button in the center of the dash, so the two vents directly under it would oscillate.
Oh.
And
That's
so
cool.
you and your passenger could get air conditioning in
Oh,
intervals.
yeah.
It was so great. It's my favorite feature of that car. But yeah, so I had the 91 Mazda. I traded that in for a 98 Chevy Tracker, 5-speed 4-wheel drive, because I wanted a 4-wheel drive car. I wanted to take it off-road, go trail riding and things like that. And that thing did amazingly well. Traded or got married, and then my wife had a 95 Dodge Neon, which was starting to have some problems, and I was starting to commute a little bit more, and so 25 miles to the gallon wasn't sounding great. I wanted something like 35 miles to the gallon.
Yep.
And so my wife started driving the Tracker, and I traded in the Neon, and I ended up getting a 95 Celica.
Okay.
1.8 liter, but 5-speed. And so the pair of us drove manuals. It was great. But the Celica got like 37 miles to the gallon on the highway. Like, it was insane. Had that car for the longest time, until the day that I bought my house, or the weekend that I was supposed to buy my house. I left early from work on Friday so I could come home and finish packing. And someone ran a stop sign on me, and I T-boned.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember you telling me this.
Yeah. So had to get rid of the Celica. Died a very early death, unfortunately. And ended up getting a Nissan Maxima, which was an automatic, but it was the LE, which was their high-end trim package. It was a 2004 Nissan Maxima, 3.5 liter V6, 6-speed automatic, moonroof, leather, all the extras, Bose sound system. Like, it was my first like really nice car.
Yeah.
And drove that for a number of years. But eventually it's like, okay, I think I need a truck to do like truck things, because I own a house now, and I need to go like buy lumber and crap like that. And so a family friend ended up getting rid of an 88 Dodge Dakota Sport. Which was the 4-liter Magnum Mopar engine, with a 4-speed manual. And so I drove that around for a couple of years. Ended up selling that, and then going and getting a I traded in the Maxima, and I got the 2014 Chevy Cruze, which I got in the 1.4 liter turbo with the 6-speed manual.
Oh, 6-speed manual.
That was fun. That was a fun, zippy little car. Yeah, so I drove a Chevy Cruze, but I drove the manual Chevy Cruze.
Oh,
it was a
manual
fun car.
Chevy Cruze.
It was a really fun car. And it got like 39 miles to the gallon. Like, it was something crazy like that. Got rid of the truck and ended up getting a Nissan Frontier, a 2013 Nissan Frontier, after I got rid of the truck.
Oh, yeah.
And
we had one of those too, yeah.
That was also a 4-liter V6, but 6-speed manual, 4-wheel drive, rear locker. It was the Pro 4X version, so the off-road, heavy-duty 4-wheel drive.
Ours wasn't 4-wheel drive, but we got the neat. That's I think that year too. Same year. Yeah.
No, a fantastic truck.
It was a wonderful truck.
Yeah. And then after I got rid of the cruise, so I sold the cruise and started driving the truck full time. And then it's like, okay, what if you think about in your head going from 39 miles the gallon to 18 miles the gallon, you think you can afford that? You can't. And so it's like, all right, I need a cheaper car to commute with. And so I actually bought a Toyota MR2 Spider, a 2003.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, my brother had one of those.
Technically, and actually I gave him some parts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Technically was a manual, but it was the sequential manual. It was the 6-speed sequential. So clutchless manual.
Yeah, so you just go pop, pop, pop. Yeah.
It still had a clutch, but it was completely automatic solenoid driven.
Yeah.
And really, really interesting car to drive. And everyone said it shifted slow. I don't know what those people are talking about. Like, yeah, if you're coming from a dual clutch Porsche transmission, yeah, it shifts a little slow.
Yeah, slow, but
for a normal shifting environment, if I'm not rally racing that thing, it was more than adequate.
Yeah.
And a heck of a lot of fun to drive, because you could be in traffic and just go pop pop and just pop it forward twice, and it would downshift you twice and do a perfect rev match shift every time. And now you're in fourth and you've got all the torque in the world. Yeah. You're right in the rev range where you want to be. Yeah, so that was fun. And then, but I didn't fit in that car very well, so I ended up selling that car.
It's a small car.
It's a small car. Very small car.
Very small car.
Your brother's way smaller than I am.
Yes, I know. I've driven in his MR2.
Yes.
It's a little tight for me. Yeah. So I'm like, they're tiny cars.
Sold the MR2 and ended up getting a Nissan 350Z, which I drove as a daily for 6 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And actually just sold that finally this past September.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, I went from manuals straight to EVs. Like, screw the automatic generation. We've had some automatic cars. Like, we've got the Mazda CX-9, and then my Ram truck was also an automatic. But those are really like the only automatics that I've driven and spent any reasonable amount of time in the last 25 years. And
they feel weird when you switch from manual.
The number of times I put my left foot through the floor into the dead man foot.
Yeah, you're like, okay, the clutch isn't here.
Coming to a stop. Oh, God.
Nope. Slamming it.
There's no left pedal. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, Andrea said, had no idea you were also a car guy. I love cars. The auto manual sounds nuts. Dude, the MR2 with the sequential manual was so much freaking fun. Because it was the exact same transmission as the manual transmission. It was the exact same thing. It just had a solenoid-operated clutch. It still had a clutch and a flywheel, just like you normally would. Pressure plate, throw-out bearings, everything else that you would in a manual transmission. It was just computer-controlled. Yeah. And so as you're decelerating, as you're braking, what it would do is if you're going less than 5 miles an hour, it would fully disengage the clutch and turn you into full coast mode. If you were going any faster than that, it would keep the clutch engaged. And so you would be basically engine braking with when your brake pedal was engaged, which means you stop really quick in those cars too. Like that is one thing that is so understated, is the amount of braking control that you had because you were engine braking with like super, super fine clutch control. And sure, the 0 to 60 suffered by like 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, but who cares? Yeah.
But in real world apparatus, if I'm doing like autocross kind of things, I will take a 1/10 reduction in shift speed to a perfect rev match shift every day of the week. And so like, just like we're testing computers in a synthetic test doesn't tell you everything. It's real world application that actually tells you things. And that sequential manual was smart enough to, if I wanted to pop 2 gears up, if I'm in 5th gear and I want to go pop pop and pop it into 3rd, I just tap the lever twice or use the paddle shifters, which it also had.
It had paddle shifters, yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm doing 4,000 RPM in a perfect rev match. It let off the clutch and you're right there. You have all the torque in the world. Yeah. You give it the last beans for 2,500. You pop it again. It goes and you're again, perfectly rev match right back down to where you need to be in fourth, and you're off to the races. And so for like an autocrossing machine, it was absolutely phenomenal. The problem was no one knows how to work on those because it is a 6-speed manual transmission with a solenoid-driven clutch and 6 solenoid-driven gear shifters. Each gear on that has its own solenoid responsible for putting it into the proper gear. And it's all computer controlled.
So you have to be specialized to work on
you
those.
have to know how to work on those.
And so if you need to work on it, you're going to be paying extra. You have to find So hell of a lot of fun. I do not recommend buying one unless you know what you're getting into or you're willing to learn and get your hands greasy. Yeah.
One thing with mine is some water got into the hydraulic lines for it. And started causing a lot of misshifts. I couldn't shift into 6th gear when I was starting to think about getting rid of it, and took it to a transmission shop, and they're like, we have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know this. Like
it's some black magic in between our level of expertise.
We have to sacrifice a chicken to try to figure out what's wrong with it.
But the moon's in retrograde right now. Yeah, so they're a hell of a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it if you know how to do it yourself or if you're willing to learn. But if you're like me, I've worked on my own cars plenty. I've never disassembled a transmission, and I didn't really intend to start. And so I don't know that I recommend it. But for that matter, that car was 140-something-ish horsepower with a 6-speed manual transmission. And the Bolt is faster than that. Yeah. At any autocross event, even though it's front-wheel drive, even though it understeers like crazy. The Bolt is the definition of a hot hatch. It's a 200 horsepower hatchback.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. You said it was 200 horsepower.
It's 200 with 266 pound-feet of torque, not 126 pounds like was on the MR2, not 190 pounds, which was on my 3.5 liter Nissan 350Z. 266 foot-pounds of torque. Oh, and by the way, it's always in the right rev range. It's always in the power band.
So does it weigh more or weigh less?
It weighs roughly the same as my 350Z.
I was gonna say that they're probably pretty close, because I know the battery is gonna weigh a little bit more. Because those batteries can be pretty heavy. Yeah. But it's a much smaller car. The MR2 is probably about the same size. But yeah, I don't know. 200 horsepower is going to get you there.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look this up. Okay, so there's that. 2017. Okay, so I'm pulling up Edmunds on both of them. So here is the 350Z. And this is the coupe. I actually had the Touring Roadster, which was that one with the 6-speed manual. And so let's compare apples to apples with what I'm used to. So the Touring 2-door Roadster, 2004 Nissan 350Z, 3.5 cylinder, 3.5 liter, 6-speed manual. 3,462 pounds curb weight. The 2017 Chevy Bolt EV does it give a curb weight? They didn't list curb weight. What the crap, Edmunds? I thought you were supposed to.
They don't have curb weight.
Dimensions.
It was the.
Gosh darn it.
My search says 3,582 curb weight.
For the Bolt?
For the Bolt, yeah.
It's 80 pounds difference.
Yeah.
The Bolt is 80 pounds heavier than a 350Z 2004 Roadster.
So slightly, but not much.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I was comparing like 0 to 60 times. The 350Z, under ideal circumstances, with the 6-speed manual, does 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. Perfect shifts, perfect rev match, perfect everything else. 5.9. The Bolt does it 6.5.
Yeah.
And the thing about, but again, that's 0 to 60. if I'm doing 20 around a corner, because that's what the corner requires, and then I put my foot down in the bolt, I'm in the rev range.
Yeah,
because I have immediate 100% torque available to me at all times. Which means the bolt's going to be a better autocross car and a better cornering car and everything else than the 350Z. Because the 350Z, you're going to be flirting with your rev ranges depending on where you're at.
Right.
How many 2-3 shifts are you willing to do to stay in the rev range?
Now, do they use EVs for motocross?
Oh yeah.
Really?
There's a huge like Bolt EV motocross community that is speccing them out with better suspension and different size tires and better brakes and things like that, specifically for doing autocross. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So. Yeah, EV motors do have a power band-ish. Yes, they kind of do, but they're delivering 90% of their peak power through 90% of their rev range. So, no, they really don't. Yeah, EV 0 to 30 is wild. Actually, the EV in the Bolt, it's the 20 to 50 that'll hold you to the seat. So... yeah, that's also with the 350Z fuel tank empty, so actually closer. Right, with a full tank of gas, it's closer to 6.5. Just saying.
All right. I'm going to go for my second beer.
Cool. I'm actually almost done.
You're almost done, so you might get to a porter.
I think we're going to open a porter tonight.
All right.
So, how was your first beer?
The first beer was excellent. I as someone who likes hazy IPA, I will recommend the Roach Clip from Great Notion.
Nice. Yeah.
Quite good. It's quite good.
Great Notion's always excellent.
No, yeah. It's hard to go wrong. In fact, when we did the Secret Santa beer, almost always I threw 1 or 2 Great Notions in there.
Yep.
Because, like, I think they're pretty much nationwide now, are they?
Great Notion is starting to distribute some things nationwide, but they're very slow. And the specialty stuff you still have to get in Portland.
Right. Yeah. The specialty, well, yeah, like in most places, there's some specialty stuff you can only get at the brewery. Yeah, no, I highly recommend that one. This one is from Binary at Wits End. So this is a wit beer. So it's got like the orange and coriander wit beer.
Nice.
So hopefully it'll be good. Oh yeah, that's a Belgian-y wit beer.
Nice.
With the orange. It's very good. Yeah, that's a good one too. I would yeah, if you like kind of like the banana, slightly banana-y, not as much as like a Hefeweizen. But those banana esters are slightly
the
there.
ester, yeah.
Yeah, so the esters are slightly there. You got some orange. You can taste the coriander in there, but it's a little bit lighter or a little crisper. This is the beer for you. This is pretty good.
That's exactly the wit beer that I like.
Yeah. Yeah, then you should try it. If you see this one, Binary at Wits End.
Okay. I do like Binary Brewing. I've got a couple of theirs in my fridge right now. They have a QWERTY IPA, which is hilarious.
Oh, QWERTY, yeah.
They do a lot of tech inspired ones, and so they've got a QWERTY keyboard IPA. They've got I have one of their milk stouts in there right now, which is, I think it was based on Lawnmower Man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think I have one of their milk stouts in my fridge right now, which maybe in the after party, maybe we'll open that up.
Maybe we'll do that one. Yeah. Yeah, so. Binary, they're in Beaverton. Yeah. So probably a lot of Intel inspired stuff since it's like Beaverton's there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Trying to see what else they got. Lot of tech stuff.
Yeah. 255. What are the names they got? Ducking Autocorrect IPA.
Yeah, Ducking Autocorrect. That's one of my favorites.
Yes. 404 Nut Brown. Motherboard Milk Stout.
That's the one that I have. I have the Motherboard Milk Stout.
The Motherboard Milk Stout. Okay.
Yeah.
There's the QWERTY IPA, Virtual Redality. Arrakis spiced ale.
Yes.
I need to get that one. That looks good. Cinnamon, clove, and caramel. That looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Beer is the mind killer. Yes. Oh yeah. Quantum Kolsch. There's the at wits end. Yeah. Control Alt Delete Stout.
I'd
Yeah,
have
I
the
think that's some
Control
good
Delete
stuff.
Stout. That's pretty
Did
good.
you? Yeah.
Yep.
Burger Time Smash Ale. Okay. Boss Key
Uh,
IPA.
Custom Spell West Coast IPA. Look at that one.
Nice.
The Oblivion
I like
logo.
it. Yeah, it's Oblivion logo, right?
Echoes of Lorien Pilsner.
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi Berliner Weiss.
Okay, they're more nerdy than Level. These guys are way more nerdy than Level.
I think they're on equal footing with Level, because Level's got some good ones as well.
Well, Level, yeah, but Level is more...
Level's more gaming inspired. These ones are just nerds.
This one's just nerds, including gaming, like the Raspberry Pi. Come on, you know. It's like...
Yeah, Virtual Reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Motherboard Milk Stout. Mad Hazy. Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Hazy.
Yeah. The 404 Nut Brown. That is a fantastic beer. And it has the chrome T-Rex when your internet is out as part of the logo.
Nice.
Yeah, they've got a lot of really good ones.
They do.
All right. Well, we should probably start talking about some other news other than Jeff's car experiences this last week.
I know. Well, you know, it's a nice little change. I know it was kind of a slow news week.
Yeah.
Not really much tech news going on. So maybe a little car talk to throw in there. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. So my audience likes cars too, and I'm kind of a car guy myself. So if you let me know. Don't say it in the chat, but let me know in the comments. Help get the comments on this video going. Do you want to see a car review on the Bolt? Do you want to see features, things that I like, things that I don't, daily living with an EV? You know, because this is my first EV. This is going to be my first experience in this world at all.
Yeah.
We've got a 2022 Toyota Sienna hybrid. Which I absolutely love. I've never been a van person. I love this van.
Yeah.
But that's really my first experience with anything electrified, and it's so much fun to drive because up to 20 miles an hour you can keep it in EV mode and just cruise around town for like 5 or 6 miles at a time. And I actually just drove the van to Longview, Washington and back and got 38.5 miles to the gallon. My wife and I always compete because when you get in the car links to your phone and will link the stats to your driving to who's in the driver's seat. And, and so my wife and I will compete on who can get better MPG when we sit down in the car based on who's driving. And she goes, "You bastard, you drove that thing to Longview and got 38 because we normally get like 32 to 33. And she goes, "I hate you right now. I hate that. That is padding your score so much."
Yeah, it was when I was down in LA, my brother let me drive his Toyota hybrid. And that thing was great. It was, I mean, okay, it wasn't the most powerful car in the world.
No.
I ain't gonna lie, but for gas miles, we drove from his place in Studio City, which he lives like right next to the Brady Bunch house. You could walk from his place to the Brady Bunch house. And we went from there down to San Diego, through the desert into like Coachella, Palm Springs area.
Yeah.
And then all the way back to Laguna Beach and then back up to Studio City. And I had to like fill that tank up. Like, well, I did it twice, but like the second time I was just topping it off.
Yeah.
So it worked great. It had great gas mileage. I wasn't really tracking it because it was one of the later models. I didn't pay attention to. I know it still had like it was tracking your mileage on it, but
yeah,
your miles per gallon as you went. But it was really efficient car.
Yeah. So we've got like an 18.5 gallon tank. I think we can legitimately do 600 miles on that tank.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
It's very good.
And we live in the hills, and even in the hills, we still get like 32.5. If we're on flat ground, 35 to 38 all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trek up to my house kills any efficiency that you ever had. The EV doesn't like it. The van doesn't like it. My truck definitely didn't like it. Because I would drive down to the hardware store at the bottom of the hill. Mm-hmm. If I just drove to the hardware store mm-hmm. and my mailbox and a couple other places in town here and there, I could easily average 10 miles to the gallon in my truck.
Oh yeah.
Just because of the drive back, because of the 3 mile 6 to 8% upgrade that you have to travel to get to my house. Mm-hmm. And from any road, from any direction, that's just is what it is.
Yeah.
Gravity, it's not just a good idea, it's the law, and it doesn't want you to go up.
It does not want you. You have to put extra energy to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that energy has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I live like 350 feet above the valley floor, and it shows. Yeah. But yeah,
so you like the Sienna then, right?
I really like the Sienna. Okay. So we got the 2022, which is the first model year of the revamped Sienna. The 2021 and earlier, I like some of the interior features of those models better. So one thing we lost with the 2022 was the full fold flat seats and removable second row.
Okay, see that's what I want. Because I was thinking about, because I need something with more loading and hauling power.
Yeah.
Just to be able to load stuff, right? Because my car is too small. So having removable seats in the back, that's key.
You know what's really funny? I'm going to put a trailer hitch on my Bolt.
Yeah. Are you really?
I'm going to put I already have it ordered. I'm going to put a 2-inch hitch receiver on my Bolt that is rated for a 300-pound tongue weight and 2,000-pound towing capacity.
So you're just so you can have like a little trailer that you can haul.
So I'm going to put a little 6-foot utility trailer behind it. Yeah. So if I need to haul a server rack or a load of lumber or whatever else,
you can load
it up. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Because I never towed anything of any consequence with my truck. It was more I needed the bed space to put sheets of plywood.
All kinds of stuff like that. All kinds of equipment that you need to haul stuff out to the dump or whatever.
The Bolt EV has a bolt-in zero drill hitch attachment from, I believe, TorqueLite. That adds a 2-inch receiver to the back of your car.
That's hilarious.
That'll do 300 pounds of tongue weight and 2,000-pound towing capacity.
Wow. I wonder how much it eats up the battery power.
I'm sure it eats it up, but I'm driving to Home Depot and back. I don't care.
Yeah, you're not going far. Yeah. Well, if you hook up the level 2 and it recharges in 9 hours too, who cares?
Exactly.
Right?
I don't care. I don't care if I get half my mileage on that trip. It's worth it to not own a truck. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at doing right now is I sold my truck. The truck is gone. The truck left on Monday morning.
It's out of there.
And so I'm already looking at I'm starting to look around for who's selling utility trailers right now. Cause I also don't want to spend $2,000 on a utility trailer. I'd like to pick one up for like $500 and be good. But no, I'm going to add a 2-inch receiver to my truck and I'm going to haul a trailer around
on your EV
with the Bolt.
Yeah. And that's a tiny little cart. It's going to look funny.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah. I have seen we had a neighbor, they don't live down there, but they used to have a Mazda Miata with the trailer hitch, and they used to tow around the little A-frame pop-up camper.
Oh
yeah, and that thing looked so funny. A little Miata with a trailer hitch on the back. And they drove that thing around. They towed this little camper thing around. But it was just the two of them, so it's great. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, I have a tent trailer. I could tow the tent trailer with the Bolt.
Yeah, because if it's rated for what, 2,000 pounds, right?
The tent trailer is only like 1,300 and change.
There you go. So you could technically do it.
I can go camping in my Chevy Bolt. It'll be great. All right. Hey now, my crappy Drake says, "Hey now, my crappy '98 Ford Ranger is the toughest damn thing I've ever owned. It's hard to hurt that damn thing." I don't know if I'm going to make you proud or piss you off with this statement. So when my wife and I started dating, in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad drove a 98 Ford Ranger. He had the V6, although you could have told me it was the inline 4, and I absolutely would have believed you. I would have thought you were full of crap if you told me he had the V6. He had the V6, 98 Ford Ranger, single cab, 6-foot bed.
Mm-hmm.
He drove that thing everywhere. And I remember turning to my wife sometime in like 2004 and asking her, when is your dad going to get rid of that piece of crap?
It's probably never until it falls apart.
He drove that piece of crap until 2018.
Oh, wow. So he kept that forever. He loved it.
I'm like, it's 6 years old and I already hate it. If you need to know more about why the Ford Ranger is why the Ford Ranger is, go check out Regular Car Reviews review of the like late 90s Ford Ranger. He'll tell you exactly why, because of the tariffs that were placed on import small and lightweight trucks, and why the Ford Ranger just like priced it to the nth percentile of where the competing trucks would be. Mm-hmm. And so there was an exemption for American manufacturers to make lightweight trucks like the Ford Ranger, domestically, and then they charged import taxes, tariffs. Hot topic at the moment, I know, but that's what this does. Charged tariffs to lightweight trucks that were imported from Japan and the like.
Yeah, because the Toyota was the big
Toyota, Mazda, Isuzu, all those.
Isuzu.
Yeah.
I remember Isuzu, yeah.
Yes. So what Ford did was went, the Tacoma's going to be $19,000. We'll charge $18,500 for the Ranger.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Just to get people to buy them.
And the Ranger was made out of stamped steel, and it was garbage quality, but you know what? It's cheaper than a Tacoma.
Yeah.
That's what the tariffs did back then. 100% Jake for his Ford Ranger. Yes, no, I'm good friends with 100% Jake and JR and quite a few of the car YouTubers. So yeah, I know their stance on the Ford Ranger. I have my stance on the Ford Ranger, and we differ a little bit. The Ford Ranger was made cheap, sold way too expensive, and not supported in any capacity by Ford.
Well, I wonder how prevalent are they? Are they still out and around? Well, I mean, I guess your father-in-law had it forever and a day.
He had it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And finally got rid of it. And I said verbatim to my wife in 2004, when's your dad gonna get rid of this piece of crap? God, this thing is just falling apart at the seams. And he didn't haul anything with it. He drove to work.
He just drove it around. Yeah, that's all he did with it. Yeah.
That's all he ever did. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Believe it or not, we do have some tech news if you people would let me get to it instead of wrapping me back into car talk, because I will talk cars for 2 hours with the best of them. And in fact, we're going to open the platform reporter.
We are. So yeah. You're all nice and lubed up from that 13%.
Oh, I am there.
Yeah.
No,
how was it?
Driving my EV tonight. That was delicious.
No, it was good, right? El Segundo, surprising for like an LA brewing company, do a real good job.
Really, really good. That was phenomenal. Yeah, it was. As clear as that beer was, it was not crisp at all. It was very, very like cut it with a knife thick.
Yes. I remember it was quad. Yeah, it's very, very viscous.
Very, very viscous, very hoppy. And a very, very earthy flavor. Very dirt's not the right word, but yes, earthy tones is what I got out of it. Very, very, very dark flavors. And then super bitter on the back end.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what my comments were on it. It was, where is mine? Lost in the mail, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I said it kind of tastes a little like malt liquor.
Yeah. Very, very ABV forward in the back.
Yeah. It says, after a few sips, you tend not to notice anymore. It goes down too easy.
Also, yes.
Yes.
And that was exactly me, is the first couple of sips, I'm like, holy crap, that's hot.
Yeah.
Because it burns.
Mm-hmm. It's very alcohol.
Very alcohol forward. But after a couple sips,
just forget about it.
It's just a bitter IPA.
Yeah.
So in that regard, super dangerous. But really, really solid. I liked that one a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I gave it a 4.
SKG. I do have some thoughts on SKG. Remind me in 20 minutes. Cybik, I want you to set a timer for 20 minutes. We're going to circle back to SKG. Okay? SKG, 20 minutes, go. I Love Scotch sends over $5. Thank you so much. I've been upgrading Tesla Roadsters to sport power levels. It involves me telnetting over CAN bus, TCP IP over CAN, and flipping 1 byte and a reboot. Nice. What's funny is the Tesla Roadster was built on the Lotus Elise / Toyota MR2 Spider chassis. So I'm actually very familiar with that platform.
Wow, yes. That's interesting.
Yeah, the very first Tesla Roadster was built on the MR2 Lotus Elise shared platform. The Toyota platform got either the 99 through 2002 got either a 5-speed manual or a 5-speed sequential. The 2003 and the 2004 got a 5-speed manual or a 6-speed sequential. Now, the manual transmissions throughout the entire range were absolutely identical, save for the extra 6th gear that was added for the sequential manual in the 03 and 04 model year. It was the exact same transmission, same housing, same gear ratios, except for the final drive ratio in the 6th gear. So they were all essentially the exact same platform. And the MR2 was based on the 1ZZ, which was 140 horsepower, 120 something pound-feet of torque, and was competent, especially given that the entire car was like 2,100 pounds. The Lotus Elise was built on the exact same chassis, although much lighter weight because the entire body was fiberglass instead of aluminum and steel. And so the Lotus Elise was 1,700 pounds versus 2,100 pounds. So dropping a 1/6 of your weight at the curb, which was insane. Also, the Lotus Elise got the 2ZZ, which was the Toyota block in collaboration with Yamaha to make a higher compression cylinder head, which upped you from 140 to 195 horsepower. But same exact transmission in the 5-speed manual. Not available in automatic or sequential, just the 5-speed manual. I know my cars.
You do know your cars. You weren't kidding when you said you could keep talking about cars.
That's right. All right. So we do have some home lab news, specifically around vGPU. So I've obviously done like 25, 30 videos on vGPU, on Nvidia.
Quite a few.
vGPU that is bifurcating a graphics card to work in virtual machines and sharing the resources of a single graphics card out to multiple virtual machines. I've done so many videos on it. It's the #1 subject that's ever appeared on my channel. However, that's only good through Nvidia's 2000 series GPUs. Only good through Nvidia Turing. And when Ampere was new, it's like, oh, I can still unlock my 2080 Ti. That's fantastic. But when 4000 series came out, And 4000 series was almost twice as fast as 3000 series. And 3000 series was almost twice as fast as 2000 series. It's like, oh, my 2080 Ti can split itself into two 3050s.
Yeah.
That's less than ideal.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a lot of interest. 134 Tech News continues.
Yeah.
You're welcome. There hasn't been a lot of like real engaged interest in the community over the last 2 to 3 years because the consumer graphics cards have gotten so fast and the demand from players, the demand from gamers for performance has gotten so high.
Yeah.
vGPU is totally still a thing that you can do with supported graphics cards, a la the RTX A5000, A6000. But that's a $2,000 card on eBay.
It's a very expensive card. Yeah,
like,
it's not cheap.
It's up there.
Well, it's not like the 3000 and the 4000 series are super cheap. They're coming down.
They're coming down.
They're coming down.
But this isn't released yet. But there's a Reddit post from 2 days ago that shows the RTX 3080 split into multiple virtual machines via vGPU unlock. Now, the reason it only worked until the 2000 series is because until the 2000 series, it was entirely software-based as far as the RAM bifurcation goes. As of 3000 series, Nvidia started using SRIOV, which is a standards-based bifurcation system. And it was believed that the consumer cards didn't have the necessary hardware or paths or routing or driver capabilities or whatever else to make SRIOV function. And so it's been the gold standard of, can you unlock SRIOV functionality on these consumer graphics cards?
Looks like they have.
We might be able to do that very soon. This has not yet been released, but it's being teased.
So is this something official from Nvidia, or is this somebody?
No.
This is something that somebody had cracked.
Yes.
Okay.
Nvidia is not going to be happy with this. Not at all. And as Zach says in chat, screenshots existed on the Nvidia forums for the 3090 running an A6000, but no details were released on how it was accomplished. I'm skeptical the new stuff will be any different, and that release was like 3 years ago. Yeah, in late 2021, there was a leak as well. And so the hope is that this is real. Because we've been teased and then let down before. I am skeptical until I see.
See it, yeah. With your own hands and eyes.
But let me just say, I've got a whole collection of cards.
Just waiting to be tried.
That I would like to test with this new unlock. If it winds up being an actual thing.
Oh yeah. So, okay. I'm just reading this now. No real, because it's a leak.
Yeah.
But no real like ETA when someone's actually going to push it out.
Right.
Just like, hey, we've done this. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
With an open source project, vGPU.
So the vGPU unlock
on GitHub.
The vGPU unlock is the hosted script for unlocking Turing and earlier generation cards. So that's the 2000, 1000 Volta, and Maxwell series cards.
Is this the same guy, and he's going to update it for the 3000? Okay, different.
Not
guy.
The same party.
Okay.
Yeah. But it is being teased, and it is being showed. So here's your RTX A6000 2Q profile. 2 gigabytes of video memory, pass through to a virtual machine, although this is fairly easy to fake if you have an A6000.
Right. Yeah.
And then here's a 4080 Super and a 4070 Ti doing the same thing. So there's your 4080 Super with a vGPU profile enabled. So yeah, your 4070 Super, and then there's an RTX 6000 Ada 2Q profile fully enabled. I am skeptical until I see, but this is some of the most convincing evidence that I've seen that it might exist.
Right.
And I don't think it was a matter of if, but when that this gets cracked.
Yeah.
Because
looks like
at the silicon level, there's no difference between a 4080 Super and an RTX A6000. There's almost zero difference between those two SKUs outside of the ECC capable memory. Now, all of this is fakeable within Linux.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could do that.
All of this text is easily fakeable. Easily. And so this could be a hoax. This could be another gotcha. This could be another late 2021, early 2022, and people go, oh, it's finally coming to Ada. It's finally coming to Ampere. Haha, screw you suckers. I have some hope because it's technically feasible.
Right. And it's been a while. Someone's already done the hoax.
Yeah.
So now it's time for the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I took a 3080, unlocked it as an A6000.
Yep.
Did the same thing with the 4080.
Yep.
Huh.
So, I hope, because the 2080, as viable as it is as a gaming card in 2025, it's viable solo as a gaming card. It's not like, 4 or 5, 6 years ago when I was investigating this, where if we could split a 1080 and we could get two 1060s out of that, or two 1070s, or three 1060s out of that, it's a totally viable option. Oh, cool, we can do that? Yeah, absolutely. I want to do that in a server because that makes sense for 1080p 60 gaming on 3 clients.
Right.
A 2080 Ti doesn't do that today. A 2080 Ti doesn't split cleanly 3 ways or 4 ways into 4 gaming machines that can do 1080p 60 FPS in Indiana Jones and Cyberpunk.
No, won't do that. No, not even close.
Right.
Yeah,
so
it barely does it in just one.
it barely does it by itself.
Yeah.
And so the technology has definitely passed the previous generations by. I am seriously hoping there's some validity to this. I don't know if there is. Trust me, if there is, I will be the first to cover it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say if
I'm
it is
kind of the guy.
That's like a whole series of videos for you right there.
Yeah.
You got content. Not only is it exciting, it's got content for you.
I have 6 video cards on my desk just in case now.
Just waiting. Chomping at the bit. It's funny this was posted in Proxmox. This Proxmox subreddit.
Yeah.
Instead of like maybe the Nvidia one. I don't know. Maybe there's more interest in the Proxmox one than the Nvidia one. Probably. I guess that makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah, so the only reference links that were given were at the very bottom, which is the vGPU Unlock project, which I've covered before. And again, that covers Maxwell, Pascal, Volta, and Turing. It does not cover Ampere, Ada, or Blackwell. So, but as soon as there's a project that enables SRIOV on consumer cards for modern generation Nvidia cards,
You're there.
you bet I'm all over it.
You're there.
Yeah. So hopefully, we'll get something soon.
Yeah, so this was posted, what, 2 days ago?
Yes.
So it's very fresh, very new.
Yeah. Synology is back in the news. Remember Synology when a couple of months ago they started pushing out firmware to their Synology NAS devices that forbid you from using any disk other than a first-party Synology disk?
Yeah.
Which means they're just going to buy the cheapest disks possible, slap their name on it, put a custom firmware on it that only enables that drive to work in their drive, and
then basically force you to buy their stuff.
And then say, "Oh, why are you upset by that, consumer?"
Yeah.
And we went, wow, this sounds like really bad news for the consumer because you're just going to hike prices and lower quality. Like, where's the consumer win in that? And they're like, no, trust us. We've never steered you wrong before. Well, they announced some 1.6 terabyte NVMe drives for $535 that are Gen 3 PCI Express drives.
So crappy old technology. Well, I would say crappy, but older. You can get
I can get a 2 terabyte Gen 4 drive for $95 on Amazon, delivered at 4 a.m. if I ordered one right now.
Right.
It is almost 8 p.m. I could get one at my house at 4 in the morning for $95 right now. And it's better than this piece of crap.
They're doing $535.
$535 for a 1.6 terabyte Gen 3x4.
There's literally no justification for this. I mean, I could see them trying to sneak by a little bit, doing like a slight markup, but this is like insanely high.
Yeah.
This is insanely high.
This is mask off insanely high.
Oh, yeah. Because like I see Dell like overmarks a bunch of stuff, but it's by like maybe $50.
This is beyond Apple's absurdity for markup.
This is Apple does the same thing. Exactly.
Apple at least will only charge you $400 for a 1 terabyte drive. They're charging $535 for a Gen 3, and at least Apple's has the courtesy to be common speeds.
Yeah. What is going? I don't understand.
Oh, exactly the thing we feared is the thing that you're doing? Color me shocked, Synology. $535 for 6-year-old drives.
Yeah. My God.
I love how the comments are like, oh, competing with Apple? That's Apple level pricing. No, I already said beyond Apple pricing. Because at least Apple has the courtesy of only charging $400 for current generation drives. Yeah. Yeah, Apple has the courtesy of giving you the reach around with a nice UX. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
At least it looks pretty for you.
Actually, it doesn't even look that good.
No, it doesn't.
Because look, some of the other M.2 drives, they kind of look a lot better than that.
Yeah.
It honestly looks like they just put a sticker on top of it.
That is clearly just an NVMe drive built by the lowest bidder with a Synology sticker on top. And you know that's not even the sticker you're going to get. You're going to get like a Kingston-style sticker. Yeah.
Well, boo on you, Synology.
You're going to wind up with something that looks a lot more like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Synology going, what are you afraid of? We're not going to raise prices and edge out the competition. That doesn't sound like us. That sounds exactly like you.
Yeah. You got 2 terabyte NVMe PCIe 4.0 for $109 by Acer.
Silicon Power has them for $95.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but I mean, the name brand ones at least look nicer. They have like heat shields on them and stuff like that. That's just stupid ridiculous.
2 terabyte NVMe. Here's Silicon Power for 102. By the way, I'm not logged in, so it doesn't know where I live, so it doesn't know that the local distribution center can get these a lot cheaper. Here's a Gen 3 drive for $95. Here's a Gen 4 for 102. Here's a Western Digital 2 terabyte black SN8100, which is a phenomenal drive for 189. A third the price of the Synology drive.
Yeah.
Here's the SN850X Western Digital drive, 142. Here's a Samsung 990 Evo SSD for 129. Here's a Samsung 990 Pro for 165. Here's a Crucial for 113. Come on.
Yeah. Who wants to get into that kind of ecosystem?
Yeah.
See all comments. It's the start of a downfall of a company when they impose artificial limitations.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It's Prime Week. None of those were on sale.
Yeah.
None of those drives were on sale. Not a single one.
Yeah, I see a lot that are not on Prime that are still like about $100 for 2 terabytes.
113 from Crucial, that's the normal price. 165 from Samsung, normal price. 129 from Samsung, normal price.
Yeah.
143 from Western Digital. The list price is 189, but I think that's the normal price is like 145, 150. 102, normal price. 189, normal price. 95, normal price. I didn't list a single sale price in that list. Not once. You can get the 8 terabyte Western Digital Black for $530 when logged into Amazon. Holy crap. I didn't even know that. Hold on.
How big is it?
8 terabyte.
8 terabyte for the same price?
8 terabyte Western Digital SN850X NVMe Gen 4x4. $530. You can get an 8 terabyte drive for the same price that Synology wants a 1.6 for. Get out of here. And this drive is more than twice as fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Get out of here.
That is terrible. What kind of Looney Tunes are they driving on that? That's really bad. That is really, really bad. Yeah, this is one of those hold my beer situations. I don't understand it.
All right. So I told Cybic to remind me of the Stop Killing Games initiative in 20 minutes, and lo and behold, we are 21 minutes later. Perfect timing. Stop Killing Games has been in the headlines as of late.
Yeah.
Look at what you can do for $530 on server part deals, too. Ooh, hold on. I'll get into SKG in here in just a second. Serverpartdeals.com. What can I do for $530? I'm going to go solid state.
Oh, God. It could probably do way better.
Ooh, I have an idea of what I can do. Okay, I can get a 15.36 Samsung for $989. I can get a Samsung 7.68 SAS SSD for $414.
Okay.
I can get a brand new Kioxia for $1,200 for $1,150. $839 for a Seagate Nitro. Holy crap. Let's see. I mean, $530, like, let's see, price high to low. Let's see what I can do on. Ultrastar from Western Digital, 24 terabyte SATA drive.
Wow.
For $509. Or $489 for a 22. Or $299 for an 18 terabyte. By the way, server part deals /craft, you can get $10 off your next order.
There you go.
So SKG has been in the news in the last week or so.
Yeah, it kicked off.
For lots of different reasons. SKG is also better known as the Stop Killing Games initiative. And it's got some notoriety over the last week because there's been a vocal opponent of this because of a popular YouTuber named Thor, otherwise known as Pirate Software. And trust me, I am well aware of who Pirate Software is and what SKG is and what their initiative is and the different interleaving things that are involved. Okay, so SKG is basically wanting a piece of legislation passed within the EU that wants game developers to think about the end of life for their live service products. What is a live service product? A live service product is an always online requirement of a game that you play, that you buy, that you technically have a license to, that can be revoked at any time.
Yeah. That as soon as you launch it, it has to have a handshake with the server to say, okay, you're legit to use this. Yes.
Right. And we're not talking about games like Overwatch, which is 100% multiplayer, server dependent. Mm-hmm. We're talking about games like, you just dove back into the Assassin's Creed series, which is, I think, a great example because there's not been much more heavy-handed DRM than in the Assassin's Creed trilogy.
Yes.
Especially with Odyssey. Odyssey has a long and storied history with some heavy-handed DRM.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, some game reviewers noticed some oddities when playing that game, where if they stood the main character still, they got him to a point where he was standing on top of a monument or a tower or whatever else and overlooking a city. It was a great spot to record a benchmark for because it's a very demanding scene. You've got a lot of details that are rendering in the background. And they would record that benchmark. But as soon as they moved the character with the joystick on their controller, the frame rate plummeted by 40% or more. Because the game was doing DRM checks on every controller.
Every single move, yeah.
This was a thing.
Yeah. I still remember the early 2000s, because they had the SimCity 4, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Where they were saying, oh, no, it's online only, and it needs to be online only because it does all these server calculations, and it offloads these calculations to the server, and it gives it back. And they're saying, no, it needs to be for that. And then someone like almost immediately found out that was fake as hell.
Yeah. Nope, it's a DRM check, and that's all.
It was just a DRM check, and that's all it is. Yeah.
And that's what Assassin's Creed Odyssey is, and that's what a lot of games are. Is most games that require a single player always online DRM check, they're not providing any assets from the cloud. They're providing DRM from the cloud,
making sure that you own it.
Right. I was pretty darn pissed off when I flew to Taiwan because I was getting into a game. What's that game called? I was getting into Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is a slightly older game, 2021, I think when it was released. But you know, kind of like you, I tend to like be a couple years behind on my catalog, and I'm like, this game always sounded like fun. I picked it up for like $8 on a Steam sale one day, and I got into it, and I'm like, this is a lot of fun. This is really exploratory. It's huge open world. It's not the most intriguing story, but fun enough, to keep me entertained with it. And I'm like, you know what? I played about 40 to 60 hours of this leading up to my trip to Taipei. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to play this on the plane. Guess what? I got on the plane, couldn't play it because it's always online DRM.
Yep. Garbage.
Guess what? I haven't picked it up since.
Yeah, you don't want to.
It turned me off to the game so much, I refuse to play it now.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned Assassin's Creed, because I kind of went and looking at like some pirate sites here just to see if there is a copy of Odyssey. And I don't think there is a pirated copy of Odyssey out there. There is a Valhalla, but not of Odyssey. Black Flag, 3, Revelations, Brotherhood, Origins. There's an Assassin's Creed Unity XXX parody porn thing too. I guess I didn't know that existed. But yeah, no, I don't see any. I don't see Odyssey. They must have like really rammed that down.
I can prove you wrong.
It's not from this site. There could be one that's out there.
No, I'll go ahead and do this. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah, all DLCs. Okay, so there's lossless repack.
There is one.
Okay. I mean, of course it's been out long enough.
There is one.
Okay, that's fine. I was gonna say it's out long enough. Pirates are absolutely persistent. They almost always find a way.
Yes.
So I'm not surprised that there is. It's just where I am looking right now in a quick cursory glance. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need better pirate sites. That's all I'm saying.
I got some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But no, anyway, the Stop Killing Games initiative basically said to any online publisher, to any game publisher who plans on having always online DRM and always online mechanics, specifically for single player games.
Yeah.
You need to have an end of life in mind, because if someone buys a license to your game, they should be able to continue playing that game after your end of life. After your servers are decommissioned, after your servers go dark, after you're no longer providing things, they should be able to run that game 100% locally on their legally obtained license. Otherwise, they're renting, not buying. In which case, you're not being honest about the transaction that's taking place. And so that's the initiative. To which Pirate Software said, "This is going to kill the live game industry." And I said, "Say less, fam."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because there's a lot of fatigue in that area.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, there's just a lot of people putting stuff out. I think one of the things, there's two of the big games that sparked this. I mean, The Crew was one of them, but that's been dead for a while. But people loved it, and they didn't like The Crew 2 as much. But the one that EA just announced, which was Anthem or Anthology, Anthem, right?
Yeah, Anthem.
The you fly around like Iron Man type of a game. But yeah, they just announced they're killing that. And there's a small dedicated fan base to it that we're like, well, why can't we continue onto it? Why can't they just release the server software so we can host it ourselves? I don't know, and that's true. Why don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really any sweat off of their back. They no longer have to support it. People can run their own servers.
Right.
They can technically still just host the game on their EA service and still sell it.
Yeah. Diablo 3, Diablo 4, and Diablo 2 Remastered. Diablo 2 Remastered especially pisses me off. I pre-ordered Diablo 2 Remastered because they promised the idea of being able to still use your old Diablo 2 servers and to be able to LAN host a multiplayer server of your own. And that was cut at the 13th hour, right before the release.
They got rid of LAN, yeah.
They got rid of LAN entirely and made Diablo 2 an online always requirement.
Right.
I bought Diablo 2 in the pre-order. I couldn't refund the game. I've never played it.
Yeah.
Because of that. They got
Go back
my
to
money.
the original Diablo 2, yeah.
But I'm so freaking pissed off that I can't host a LAN game of Diablo 2. That I've never played it. I never downloaded it. I never logged in, and I wasn't going to play ball with that.
Yeah. I mean, I could kind of understand some apprehension. Well, not even that, because like World of Warcraft, some MMOs, If they're still making money off of it, they're still making money off
But
of
an
it.
MMO is a different beast. I don't
It
expect
is. It is.
I don't expect Blizzard to open source the servers for their MMO. I don't
Right.
expect that.
No.
What I do expect is Diablo 2 to fucking work.
Work on a LAN. You should be able to just have 2 peer-to-peer connections and be able to play together.
Right.
Not that hard. Most games prior to like what 2003, 2005 had that capability.
Yeah. Every single player game today runs 100% locally sans DRM check.
Yeah, it has to go DRM check. I mean, so there's some GOG games you can do it with, but they're geared because they're older. Because that's what
But
they
you
used
know
to
what? If a game's available on GOG and Steam, I buy it on GOG.
do. Because it's DRM.
Because it's DRM free.
Yeah.
I absolutely put my money where my mouth is, and I refuse to support things that aren't. I'm a huge StarCraft player.
Yeah.
I don't play StarCraft anymore because it's an always online DRM requirement. I'm a huge Diablo fan. I refuse to buy Diablo or spend any time on Diablo because of the always online DRM requirement.
Yeah.
I would love to play Diablo 2 Remastered. I would love to dive back into that game. I refuse to do so because of the DRM requirement.
Yeah, that was because like you just mentioned like going on a plane, and this isn't just indicative of PC. This is also indicative of a lot of mobile phone games too. Because like I had a small flight. I was just going to LA. 2.5 hour flight, not that long. Don't want to have to haul a lot of stuff. I'll just play games on my phone. What is a good game that you could play on your phone that doesn't have internet connection? There is not that much out there. There really isn't. There's a couple puzzle games, Candy Crush, kind of. Like everything else has got some online DRM stuff going on with it that you can't even play them on a phone. Can't play it on a plane anymore.
Right. Yeah, log in to get the latest high score. I just want to play the damn game.
I just want to play the game. I don't care. I just want to have a little bit of entertainment.
I just want to play the game.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to play the game. I will give you 40 US American dollars to be able to play the game.
Yeah.
But I don't want to log in.
Right. It would be nice to have the option to log in if you wanted that. But that should be icing on the cake. That should not be the requirement.
Right. And if I have paid you for said game, I should be able to play said game.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. End of discussion.
And if it had like online components, then at the end of the life, you should release the software for that component so that other people can host it if they wanted to.
I don't even necessarily agree with that. I just think it should be playable offline.
Well,
I don't necessarily need the server components open sourced and freely publicly available. Like, I just want single player games to freaking work as single player games. That's all I want.
Single player games, yes, of course. But like, like the Crew and they had like a lot of online seamless integrated stuff.
Sure.
Mixed in with it.
Mm-hmm.
That made it very hard to just be, if it's disconnected from the server, it should still work.
Burnout Paradise had live action plays with online components that was later shuttered, but guess what? I can still boot up Burnout Paradise and play the game.
Absolutely. Yes, there are some things. Yeah, exactly. Burnout Paradise still works. They did sever that and they didn't fix that. Yeah, Burnout Paradise was fun. But yeah, then why? But then they could still do something with Anthem. They could still do something with that with the Crew.
Right.
They could totally do something like that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But they don't want to, for whatever reason. I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's a question of ownership. It's a question of, are you selling me a license to the game or are you renting me a license to the game? Because those are two very different transactions that take place.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's been tons of people who like invested into early access, all kinds of stuff like that were, live services that just like, nope, this isn't working. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
and completely gone, completely useless now. Tons of games like that. Steam is littered with games like that.
Yeah. Sir Bobbles sends over $5. Thank you so much. I've paid for Command & Conquer multiple times due to different launchers. It sucks. Plus, the game's now not playing without patching. Also, yes. And look, I don't expect developers to support games 20 years into the future. But what I do expect is that an online component doesn't break the ability for me to log into a game.
Right.
And let me be clear. If I buy a game from you and it doesn't work because of an online component requirement, someone's going to crack it and I'm going to download that.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to break your DRM.
Yeah. There's been several times where I've just like, screw this. I'm not working around this.
Yeah.
I think there's been actually a couple of companies. I can't think of specific examples at the time, but they were actually caught using a pirate's crack to patch their game.
Yeah, no, someone got caught using one of the Razer 1911 team's cracks a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yes. I can't remember the exact game, but yeah, they're like, oh, we'll fix this. And then it was the crack from Razer.
From Razer, yeah. From Razer team. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's sometimes it's just better to do it that way.
Yeah, I don't remember what game it was, but yeah, someone got in trouble because they used Razer's crack without permission, which is not their code to use, which is really funny.
Yeah.
But it all comes back to like consumer rights, and if you're purchasing a license to a game that should be indefinite, it should not be reliant on an always online component in which the developer has the right to indefinitely revoke.
Yeah.
If I'm buying a license to play a game, which is what I'm doing, that license should work indefinitely.
It should.
Regardless of whether or not you want to keep that game's online store active or not.
Yeah, if you shut it down, you should push out a little bit of code that says you can still run the game without validating that connection.
Right.
Especially, it's like you said, especially if it's a single player game.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not talking about MMOs or things like that, like things that genuinely run proprietary code in the cloud. Yeah, those are your secrets, and those live and die by the environment of the day, and I get that. What I'm talking about is the single player games. My Call of Duties, my Assassin's Creeds, my Cyberpunks, my whatever the case may be. If I buy a license to play a single player game, that license should be able to run regardless of whether or not your servers are online or not. End of discussion.
I mean, yes. But even with MMORPGs, there's dead ones out there.
Yeah.
Right. And there's dead ones that have like a City of Heroes, I should say. A City of Heroes, City of Villains. Very, very popular. Died. Why can't you have like, and it's old enough now that
Star Trek Online.
Star Trek Online is still you can play it now.
Yeah,
it's still there. Yeah, but I'm talking like a dead one. Like the company no longer supports it.
Right.
Servers are dead. You cannot log on. Why not release server software? Host it with your friends.
I would agree with that to a certain extent, but I'm also a little hesitant on that because of trade secrets, internal things like.
I mean, but there's
and let me be clear, it's a fine line.
Yeah. Okay, but there's lots of companies that put out server side software for the games on day one.
Sure.
Like to this day, you could host your own Minecraft server, even though Microsoft now owns Minecraft.
Sure.
You could still download and host your own Minecraft server all day long. So
weird, almost as if creating a compelling game is more important than controlling your IP.
Exactly. And like, okay, so like the game base, the player base no longer supports you hosting the server. You want to shut it down. It's a slog on your resources. I
Hmm.
get it, but there's still a small dedicated base. Why not just be like, okay, guys, here's the server software. Go at it. Have fun. Make your own. We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
As long you can still buy the client. We'll sell it to you. You can
Yeah.
buy it from our store,
Yeah.
but we're not hosting it anymore.
Right.
It seems to be a smart move to me because they won't make a lot of money from it, but if they make enough to just compensate for the storage of the file that they're downloading or that people are downloading,
Right.
enough, right?
I mean, a Minecraft license is what, 12, $15, something like that?
I don't even know what it is anymore. I have not played. I started playing, it was $10, but it's probably higher now.
Yeah, I think it's like $12 now.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I bought it back in like 2010, 2011, I think
Yeah.
is when I got into Minecraft.
Mhm.
And yeah, I hosted a self-hosted server. I had like 15 people on it at one point.
Yeah.
And guess what? My login still works today.
Yeah.
But if Microsoft were ever to rescind that login, guess what? I haven't used that login in 10 years because I use an offline launcher that allows me to play Minecraft with whatever account that I want that is completely cracked, that I don't care about because I'm not playing with any online Minecraft server and I paid the money to the license in the first place. So I'm going to play the damn game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all we're asking for.
Yeah, that's all we're asking for.
I just want to be able to play games that I bought. That's all I want.
Right.
And I don't even care about multiplayer games. Like because multiplayer lives and dies with the lifespan of the community.
Base. Yeah. Yeah.
But the single player experience can live on forever.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that have the exact opposite problem. Yeah. Where it's online and it's only online players will play the game, but there's no one that wants to play it. And their servers are still going, but nobody's playing it.
Yeah.
There's lots of multiplayer only games where I went on there. It's like, I couldn't play against
I'm going to wait 20 minutes for a match to load up because we're the only 8 players on the server right now.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I remember playing Brink way past its life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a prime example. Yeah, there's a small dedicated base. Yeah. And they're like
me and 19 other people.
Yeah, you can go there and play. It's like, oh hey, I killed you again. For the umpteenth time.
Damn it, Josh. Because you're on a first name basis with the people.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you kill them enough times, you're gonna get to know the guy.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all we want. We just want to be able to play the games that we rightfully bought, that were bought under the contract of you own the game.
Yeah. You should be able to play that game.
And make developers think about, hey, maybe eventually remove Secure ROM and de novo from your games so people can play them.
And the thing is like, pirates always win. They always win.
Yeah.
They eventually crack it. I can't think of a single game that hasn't been cracked. I mean, like maybe the ones like, ones that require a subscription to the server and stuff like that. You need to log on to a server to make it work.
Yeah.
But outside of that.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, there are games that came with Secure ROM.
Yes. Secure ROM's been cracked.
Spore, I believe, came with Secure ROM.
Very, very famous, yes.
I probably bought 3 copies of Spore because I played a lot of Spore because it was a good game.
Yeah.
And so I bought the original CD copy, and then I bought the Galactic Edition, and then I think I bought the all-encompassing DRM version on GOG when it was launched. And so I own like 3 legitimate licenses to Spore because it's a good game and because I enjoyed playing it and because I wanted to continue playing it years into the future. Good games sell. And you don't need to worry about the 5% of people who are always going to pirate because there's always going to be 5% of people that pirate.
Well, and also sometimes with pirating, there's been study after study that said it actually promotes purchases because yes, people will pirate the game. And some will just play it and then be like, yeah, I'm done with it, whatever. But people who actually like it will go back and buy it.
Yeah.
Because they want the continued support for it. Because, like, yeah, okay, if you pirate a game, then it's up to that person to find the cracked patches for future updates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, might be a game-breaking bug. Okay, now I have to go out and find the cracked patch for this, blah, blah, blah. It's up to them. You buy it from Steam, it's like, I don't have to worry about that. It patches itself.
It's auto-updated.
It's auto-update. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm dialed into the community at this point, you know.
Yeah.
If the person really, really likes it, they will buy it.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they'll probably buy it.
Yep. And if you're like me, you buy multiple copies over the years. I've bought multiple copies of Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I have like 3 copies of all the
at least 3 copies of each.
Yeah.
Because I know I had CD copies of all the originals. I also bought them on Steam. I also bought them on GOG when they launched on GOG because I wanted always offline DRM free copies. And yeah, almost like good games continue to make money. Yeah. And maybe that's where you should put your money, is to making good games. Because the pirates always win.
Yep, they do.
And the best thing that you can do is take your legitimate customers with you.
Yeah.
And make sure they have a good experience.
Right. And it's, I mean, okay, you might have to pay some intern a little bit to package the software or whatever, slap a nice install over the top, something like that. A small amount of resources to get that thing out there.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yep.
I mean, that could be the thing. They might be like, well, we don't want to have to support it. Because, like, if someone's going to do it, they'll be like, well, you just put as part of the download, you accept there's no more support. Microsoft does it all the time. They're doing it right now with Windows 10. We are no longer going to support this. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Do you know how many games for Windows Live games that I own that were later patched out?
I got
including Fallout 3.
I got bit so hard for games for Windows Live because I was playing. It was Grand Theft Auto 4.
I said GTA 4, Fallout 3, Gears of War. Like, there was a whole series of games.
I had because I had it connected to my Hotmail account. And then when Hotmail switched over and they went to Outlook or something, I was like, well, I don't want my Hotmail account. I'm just going to delete it. So I deleted my Hotmail account, and I could not log back into any of my games, and I couldn't get any of my saves anymore. So even though I was like 3/4 the way done with some of these games, I could not get back in.
Yep.
There's even if I created a new account, it's like, no, your save's not there anymore. It's gone.
Yep.
You have to play it all over again.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm not going back. I'm sorry. It pissed me off.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Games for Windows was terrible. It was so terrible.
So I just want to state for the record, I am in full support of the Stop Killing Games initiative.
Me too.
Period. Because I am all in favor of consumer rights. Even if that means, suck it up developer, make sure you patch in an end-of-life plan for your single-player experience that has an online-only DRM, and maybe you can't suck your consumer dry to the end of time. Maybe you should accept that that's part of the license agreement and the buy-sell agreement that you have with the consumer. Right. That's what you need to do. Consumer advocacy is 100% where I'm at. No ambiguity.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that hard of a statement to make, I don't think. Although, there's a couple YouTubers who disagree with me, so there we go.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I guess maybe we're just too used to almost every single piece of software coming with a server-side component with it.
Right.
It used to be that way. They used to come packaged with it.
Yeah. I bought horse armor, for crying out loud.
Why did you do that? I didn't do that, but
I paid $5 and got horse armor.
I did pirate this horse armor, actually.
I bought the horse armor disc from Walmart.
I know. I legit bought, because I loved all the Elder Scrolls, and I bought the collector's edition of Oblivion. And then when they put the horse armor out, it's like, no, I'm gonna pirate that. So I did
No,
try to pirate
I
this.
legit spent the $5 on the disc from Walmart to get horse
To
armor.
get a horse armor. There's probably like this much written on it.
There was 100 megs at most,
Yeah,
and
at
most of
most.
it was like updates to the game,
Yeah,
to the base game.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, that's a show.
yeah, 8:30 went half hour over.
That's right.
All right.
That's a show. We did car talk for an hour and a half, and then you got a full hour of tech news out of us.
Wow.
I don't know what more you expect out of a show.
Dude, come on. It's kind of a slow tech news week.
It really is.
It's not really much going on.
It's been a really slow 3 weeks. I've been stretching these for all they're worth, and you're lucky I bought a car this week. Otherwise, this would have been even more off the rails.
Hey, but you know what? There was enough audience reaction to know that maybe a couple of car auto videos might be in your future.
Yeah, I think I might do some content around the EV because this is my first EV, and
there's still tech involved with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Enthusiasts around one niche tend to be enthusiasts in other niches, and
Yep.
I'm sure there's some interest in EVs and how I use my car and things like that. And yeah, maybe we'll get into that. Maybe I'll start planning on some videos there. Stunts is from 1990. The initial i386 was released around then. Interestingly enough, I had a cracked version of Stunts.
Oh yeah. No, back then I pretty much pirated everything.
Oh god. So Stunts was really fun because Stunts, the game for MS-DOS, had a DRM check where you had to check a specific line, page and line in the manual and enter the word that appeared in that order. Mm-hmm. There was a crack that was available to the game that was st.com instead of stunts.exe, and you could launch st.com. Which would bypass the DRM. It would still prompt you for the DRM, but you just press enter and it goes, yeah, that's good enough.
That's fine. That's whatever.
And then it would launch you into the game. And what's funny is if you failed the DRM check in the normal game, you would drive for 5 seconds and then it would crash your car. It would blow up your car. And so that was the DRM in that game. But I had the cracked version, and so I could play all the tracks and not have to enter the DRM. Love the track builder in Stunts? Yes. Oh god, I spent hours in the track builder putting together so many loop-de-loops. Yeah, how did you get past needing the manual? st.com. In fact, I still have that version on my software directory as I speak. In fact, I don't know if I can show
pull it up?
you. Hold on. Abandonware.
Oh yeah, it's probably all over abandonware.
Yeah. No, I had a full DOS directory. Yeah, DOS games. Stunts. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, there was a stunts.exe and a stunts.com or an st.com, and those were the cracked versions. And yeah, I have stunts.com in this st.com. That's what I have. In fact, I'm going to post that screenshot for the Discord to see.
There you go.
So if you're in the Discord, there you go. There's part of my pirating history.
There you go.
st.com. That's how you can tell.
Your abandonware DOS stunts. st.com.
But anyway, that's going to do it for episode 390 of Talking Heads. Mm-hmm. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Head on over to craftcomputing.store, get one of our fantastic nucleated pint glasses, custom laser etched in-house by me on my own laser cutter out in my garage. Fully designed and manufactured right here in-house. And they are fantastic glasses.
Oh yeah, they work great. The nucleated part at the bottom kept everything bubbling.
Yep.
Kept it all bubbling.
Yep. So they are laser etched at the bottom to provide nucleated sites to a carbonated beverage. I do recommend using these with beer. I do not recommend using them with like a soda, because they will make your beverage flat in about 5 minutes straight. Yeah. But for a beer, they constantly refresh the head on your beer, expressing the aromatics, adding to your drinking experience. They're absolutely worth it for drinking beer. They're available for, I think, $18 on the store.
Yeah. My beer is gone, and there's still like a little bit of head at the bottom. Look at that. It's still a little bit there.
Yeah. Show that again. Yeah, look at that.
Still like a little bit there still. See, look at that. It's still there.
His beer was poured an hour ago. He's still got head on it.
Yep.
There
just
you go.
Tiny bit.
Yeah, designed and manufactured quite literally in-house. Yeah, quite literally behind this concrete wall is my garage, and that's where my laser cutters are at, and that's where I make all of the glasses that are made here. As well as the whiskey stones and coasters and bottle openers and all kinds of things like that. So, craftcomputing.store. Anyway, Steve, anything good of the order before we close?
No, I think I'm good. Got my son wanting to pop in.
Well, thank you all so much for joining, and as always, we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
All right, now what do I click?